You guys are right. I'm not that special. How dare am I to have high standards? I'm so sorry. No. I'm not going to shrink myself so I can be accessible to everyone. I'm not making this video to explain myself. I was inspired to make this one. Thank you for negative comments. I was reminded the whole point why I started this channel. No matter what your dreams are, whether small or big, whether someone once told you someone like you doesn't deserve it, no matter how unattractive you think you are or how little money you have, I'm here to tell you you're worthy. Even if you tell me I am unworthy of my standards, I'm at a point nobody can affect what I certainly know already. It's like, why would I believe you if you told me I'm blonde? Dream, baby. Dare to dream. If you watched one of my other videos, my entire life, the word survivor followed me. Cancer survivor, domestic violence survivor. I was subconsciously programmed to believe that that is the best I deserve to get by. I've done a tremendous amount of work to reprogram, to believe differently. If I do decide to respond to your comment, I'm going to respond with a love, even to the hate. Not in self-sacrificing way, not in people-pleasing way. I want you to see that someone here, me, I believe you're worthy of your dreams and standards you're scared to admit yourself. Doesn't mean you can sit and do nothing. Nothing is going to happen magically. Instead of playing small, resenting the world, and shaming others who actually dream big, do the work. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that social media space can be very dangerous. When influencers have a substantial followings, a lot of people blindly follow their advice. Things are not black and white. See, listen, observe. And this is why we say traveling is important to widen your perspectives. You decide which part resonates with you from this person and that person. We don't need to shame or diminish others when we disagree. We need to learn to coexist. I mean, this is the reason why there are wars, because people are fighting over different faiths and beliefs and systems. I'm certainly not here to give a one-size-fits-all answer. What I thought I knew 10 years ago has evolved as an evolving creature. Thank God I am. If you're stagnant, you're not growing. My standards are not the staple for everyone, but I'm also not going to apologize for it. I'm just here to share what has worked for me, to share my authentic truth, and to become comfortable in it. I also had to figure out how I can honor my needs of being a private person while also honoring my vulnerability. I will share truthfully, but I will not share the names and faces of my loved ones. I look forward to sharing my journey as I continue to evolve. Comments in my last video showed concerns that most men will not meet my standards. I'm not trying to date most men. I'm not trying to be liked by most men. Getting married isn't my goal. That's easy. Having children just itself isn't my goal. A lot of people have kids in a way that they buy a purse from a store. I want them, so I'm going to have them. The reasons behind my standard is bigger than myself. It's going to impact my entire lineage. I'm going to choose a partner that I want my future children to inherit his traits, his mindset, his values, how he does things, how he treats me. You know, the whole point of reproduction is to evolve by creating better versions of ourselves. I would be a hypocrite to want a man with all these qualities if I wasn't working on myself. I hold myself to high standards. Expecting what's aligned is deservingness. A complementary partner who is as discerned as me, who seeks more in life, more meaning, more depth, and more than just a pretty face. I'm going to pick a partner I feel proud when someone says, I think like my partner, and they can see what brought us together. I want a partner that I truly feel fulfilled, not to feel less lonely. I want a partner that I can be absolutely myself, and that that is the very reason that I'm being valued and appreciated for. I'm going to choose a kind of a man that I will want my future daughter to be with. When the day comes that I choose to commit to someone, that alone will speak volumes about the man. My friends and family are going to be like, who is this man? He must be amazing. Someone commented I should choose between emotional maturity or a wallet who treats me like an object. I can assure you I received more positive messages and they desire to be with a woman like me with the standards of high values, high morals, and high discernment. Because some of us thrive for excellence. You don't have to get worked up or get upset. I'm not demanding you or anybody to meet my expectations. If I did, that's entitlement. There's a clear difference between entitlement and deservingness. I have another video coming up about this topic. Nobody has to. But there are men who innately desire to provide and protect their female counterpart. Not in a performing way, they have to meet social expectations of what a masculine man would do. They're deeply masculine. Their DNAs are designed to desire to. Kind of like how our bodies are designed to get hungry naturally. And I will choose amongst those who want to. On the other hand, women ask me how they can get partners to want to provide or how to get their partners to do X, Y, and Z. You don't. Here are some tips. 1, sooner you accept your needs, the better. 2, get curious. 3, directly communicate. For example, if consistency was your needs, as it should, keep that in mind though, consistency looks differently to everybody. For some people, as long as they call or text their partner at the end of the day, that's considered consistent. For some people, if they don't hear back from their partner within 20 minutes, that's considered inconsistent. Instead of assigning meaning onto the other person's behavior, unless it was obvious, directly communicate. For instance, hey, consistency is important for me. What does that look like to you? What does that mean to you? To me, consistency looks like X, Y, and Z. Don't demand, don't beg, don't chase. In analogy, everyone has a bridge to cross in order to have their dream relationship. I mean, with anything in life, the very thing we want is on the other side of fear. Crossing means leaving behind parts of you that are comfortable but not serving you anymore, such as emotional habits and fears. Many women do their partner's work of bridging because they are scared to be alone or scared to lose something that has potential. I've crossed my own bridge to heal, to do the work. So in order to attract a aligned partner who will also do his work and take accountability, I will not do it for him. And you have to ask yourself, what's true to yourself? For me, staying true in my essence of femininity, I'm giving invitation. I'm allowing the man to show up, to meet me at the level I require in depth and in action. Trust that the man who is ready to cross that bridge will do, not only for you, but for himself. Your job is to stay true to yourself and cross your own bridge and welcome the man who rises with your arms wide open. And in my opinion, trying to get someone to do something seems manipulative to me. Don't manipulate, don't play games. I think a lot of women are scared to unapologetically accept their needs and to directly communicate. When I give this advice to my female friends, they worry that they come off too much or they are not going to be mysterious. But here's the thing, you're not going to build a life with someone based on mystery. Someone is going to appreciate you for your integrity. The very thing that you shrink for and you deny is the very reason that someone is going to absolutely love you for it. When you work on yourself, you're going to get to know yourself in many layers and in depth. You're not going to need to play mysterious. Your person is going to be like, I want to get to know more about her. There are so many layers and facets to her. Here's an example how I directly communicate. This is what I want. I want a marriage and family and my ideal timing as well. Because some people want marriage and kids, but it's a someday category. And some people have prepared themselves and it's a matter of meeting the right person. And these are the values that I want to raise my children with. And if you can't meet my expectations, you can go find somebody with a lower expectations than me. And I can go find somebody else who can. You need a man that is 6'4", blue-eyed, in finance. Not. Too many women fall for men that look good on papers and they overlook qualities that really matter beneath the surface. Determining our life partner will be the most important decision we'll ever make in our life. And it is not just based on checking off boxes, but it is based on aligned core values. And these core values should be non-negotiable. If two people are not looking at the same direction, destination, and goal, it'll never work. We would be incredibly lucky if we can meet someone who shares the same vision for life, goals, and values, and you feel physically attracted to and emotionally connected to on soul level. I've never said it happens every day. To find all of that in one person, it is rare. When you find that person, rest of boxes, you build together. And in order to co-create, it takes two healed people who face their wounds and fears and who take their own accountability. In the last video, I said there are a lot of men with the fancy cars and boats, but I expect a lot more, such as emotional intelligence, maturity, values. Someone commented, do you want emotional maturity or a wallet? Choose. And then I realized people have a scarcity mindset. It insinuates that successful men are not emotionally intelligent and beautiful women are vain. I can wear a crown and can be deep at the same time. In my surrounding, I'm surrounded by the kindest women who happen to be the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And I'm surrounded by generous and successful people that are also the most emotionally intelligent people I know. In fact, that is what got them to success, along with their discipline, commitment to excellence, and their value system. I can assure you, those two things are not mutually exclusive. If you saw one of my other videos, I was married to a man with disability, without a job, with 2 children. He ended up badly abusing me. There was no emotional safety for compromise and comfort. My ex-husband told me that I'm not worthy of my needs or even denied my basic human rights. Here's the truth. He was threatened by my standards because he could not meet them. And another comment said I most likely have already met my future husband, but has ignored him, just like most women do nowadays. You're right. Maybe he is in my surrounding because there are a lot of amazing people in my surrounding. Very possible, but not one of my male friends. It is against my personal integrity to be friends with someone that I can have romantic feelings for. My future husband deserves more than that. He deserves that level of integrity. But sure, it's very possible he could be a friend's friend or a friend's husband's friend. He could be already in my circle, but I personally don't know him yet. Right now, if you look around and if you don't see these well-rounded men and women, then change your environment. Someone has pointed out that I might have had certain privileges, conditioning, and standards. It is true. We all have certain privileges and disadvantages. I'm not insensitive or oblivious to that. I was raised by a masculine provider father and a nurturing, kind mother. I never had a date that made me question there is a different way until I learned through other people's experiences. And these experiences shape our subconscious belief, and our surrounding is a reflection of that. This is why we attract what we are, and this is why seeing is believing. And neuroplasticity term, it's called expansion. We can't change certain things like parents and demographic we're born to, but we do have a power to reprogram our beliefs. It's not easy, but we can. And it is true that I'm born to a certain level of a privilege. My father was a doctor, and both my mom and brother have graduate degrees from top universities in Korea. And I'm the least educated one in my family. I have a bachelor's in economics. But I'm also the first one in my lineage to live in foreign country all by herself, and first woman to live on her own, let that alone, but doing that in a foreign country, and the first woman to have her own lease. I am someone who was born to abundant mindset, but traumatic events put me in survival mode, and I was introduced to scarcity mindset. I had to do tremendous amount of work around it. I still am doing it. In order to change a subconscious belief in neuroplasticity, it takes consistency, repetition, and emotional intensity that makes you feel uncomfortable, that requires for you to push through. Just like working our body, I've been weight training for 15 years, and I think it took at least a year to see muscle tones on my body. Now it doesn't go away easily because that is the new default for my body because of the muscle memory. Focus on what you can, not on what you can't. Growing up, my parents would correct me if I say it's too late or I should have done that. If I'm sitting this direction and saying there's nothing I can do, but if I switch my chair 180 degrees, there's a whole side that I didn't see before. When I was waiting for my new immigration status, I couldn't work. I was trapped in an abusive marriage. Of course, I felt sad. I honored my feelings of grief and helplessness. I didn't stay feeling sorry for myself. I could have said, oh, I can't work. There's nothing I can do. But I shifted my focus on what I can do. Couldn't afford gym membership, but I still worked out every morning. You find a way. I committed myself to therapy twice a week. On top of that, I did neuroplasticity and EMDR. I didn't give up on myself because I knew the day is going to come. And then when that day comes, I could say, I've prepared for this day. We all are humans, but if you catch yourself saying it's too late, I should have done that, would have done that, shift. Start focusing on what you can do. Commit yourself to internal work. Jealousy, shame, judgment, these are all signs of needing internal work. More you heal, you don't get triggered as much. Whatever works for you, journaling, therapy, neuroplasticity, EMDR, faith or support groups, it's usually not the other person. Face it, own it, and heal it. In life, you need to have audacity and tenacity. You have to have audacity. Dare to dream, to ask, and to reach for what you want, even if everyone thinks you're crazy. And you need to have a tenacity to match that audacity. Which person do you think has gotten closer to their dream life? Someone that seemed delusional but never settled? Or someone who had a negative mindset and is settled? Can you imagine when Wright brothers said, we are going to fly in sky? People probably thought that they're insane. So many people in history had these impossible ideas, but they turned them into reality. They believed it. They were so certain of it. Even when everyone was laughing at them, they never settled. They went at it persistently. That's how every evolution happened. Without those who believed the impossible was possible, we wouldn't have a phone, light, electricity, like so many things. Mirroring. I see every situation as an opportunity, as a mirror, how it is reflecting parts of me. I want to make it clear before we continue. I'm not saying you should be blamed for if you're a victim of domestic violence. However, this is what I did on my part. I could have said, he did this to me. The world has been unfair to me. And I will be trapping myself as a victim, waiting for a permission to live life beyond that. Or I can take accountability and do differently. When you do, you never lose. You learn and leap. And here were painful truths I didn't want to face. I wanted to be seen from my heart so badly. I wanted to prove people wrong about their stereotype on a girl like me. I subconsciously chose a path of struggles to prove that. But for what? So they can finally see my heart and soul that they would deny to see if I stand tall, and only to find that I completely abandoned and betrayed myself. When you're powerful, some people don't want you to realize your power. Here's another mirroring work I did recently. I was attracting almost men. When I say almost, I want to clarify it's not from my point of view. It doesn't mean that they were the almost one or I felt the connection to them. It is rare to have the level of a connection with someone, but I'm describing from their perspectives. They feel almost ready for a woman like me. Said that they don't feel deserving of the level of love I offer, not today, but they're very close, someday, very soon. So I looked at myself in the mirror and asked myself, how are they reflecting the parts of me that are not ready today to be deserving of the kind of man I truly desire? There it was. I was giving myself conditions on my worthiness. When I become New York Times bestseller, when I'm more successful, when I have more money, then I will be finally deserving of the kind of a man I truly desire. These recognition titles and conditions, they're all going to come because of my character. That's not where my worth lies in. And I have to remember why I chose my path wasn't for validation. In my modeling career, I have been on those big name campaigns, but guess what? I was the same person before and after that. My future husband is going to be someone that is proud of me, whether I'm making a difference in the background silently or I'm making a speech at a charity gala, he's going to be like, that's my wife. I'm going to share some secret sauce that worked for me. Authentic codes. So in neuroplasticity program that I did, everyone has 3 to 5 authentic codes. Once you discover what they are, you ask yourself why, what those codes mean to you, and why you want what you want. People don't ask enough and often why. And the reason why it is important is because whatever you don't own will own you. And we'll revisit this in a bit. My authentic codes are beauty, creativity, luxury, and impact. And the word luxury came with a lot of shame for me. I did a significant amount of work to remove the shame so I can own those tools, not being owned by them, so I can express who I am in the world as freely as possible. And the important part, why? So I asked myself why luxury is important to me and what that means to me. Luxury means to me elegance, comfort, quality, security, and freedom. I learned this is one of my core needs when I had a rare type sarcoma cancer. At the initial diagnosis, I was told that most patients have 14 to 40 months life expectancy. The first hospital I stayed at for treatments were horrible. I thought to myself, I'd rather die than continuing the treatment. Thankfully, later, I was able to find a spot with one of the best specialists at Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is one of the best oncology hospitals. It made a night and day difference. Like liquid I had to drink for CT scans tasted like a candy. And staffs were so kind and patient. So I had an epiphany. Luxury is important for me. I've been on tight budget with circumstances. I'm not embarrassed about that. What I had to do in order to not compromise on my authentic need, which is luxury, instead of buying 10 pairs of shoes, that I'll invest in one pair of good shoes that are good quality, comfortable, and they make me feel beautiful and elegant in them. Sometimes it's not necessarily about the price tag. I like to arrange my food on a pretty plate, even though I'm just serving myself. How I dress is important for me, how the fabric feels on my body, and how I feel in the clothing is important. I like to wear cute nightgowns to bed even though nobody's watching. It's for me, so authentic codes are the things that are close to your souls, even if nobody was watching. A lot of people are perfectly happy without these things that I require because everyone has a different authentic code. It takes courage to express ourselves freely. And when we feel triggered, the urge to shame others, congratulations, you found a perfect opportunity to grow. What you're seeing in another person is aspects you denied, you wish you can dare to go for, or you feel unworthy of, you feel like you can't have. Isn't it beautiful how each of us are different and we all want different things? But that's how I know there is a place and someone for everyone. I don't want to be you or you or you. I want to be me. I want to like who I am and who I'm becoming. And that's all that matters. If I get lucky enough, someone will come along who will love me for who I am, for my values and for my standards. Nobody gets to tell me I'm not special because I am. I am special. As special as you are, there's only one of you in the entire universe, and there's only one of me. That makes both you and I pretty special, don't you think? So let's go back talk about why it's important to understand why we want what we want. I have a friend, she says she only dates men that are 6'3" or taller. I'm not a kind of person that will say, hey, that's 1.4% of the male population. You should just settle. I will never say that. But I asked her, you can have anything you want, but let's understand why. So when I asked her, why do you like tall men? And she says, well, I just like them tall. So I went deeper and asked her, what does that mean to you? How does that make you feel? And she goes, I just like how small I feel next to a tall man, and I want to feel like a woman. So I told her, okay, so you want to feel feminine, you want to feel protected. So let me ask you this. Did every tall man you dated make you feel safe? There was her answer. Of course, she's going to have to feel attracted to the guy she's dating, but if her attraction point is feeling safe, that's something for her to think about. I heard a female influencer preaching, if men cheat on their pregnant wives, I will leave my man if he loses his money. You deserve each other. You do. If a man has faced his fears and questioned his purpose as an individual, as a father, and as a husband, it's here. He will become inevitably successful. This is outcome. But not every successful person will necessarily have the base. Of course, sometimes life circumstances can prevent even this kind of person, like disasters or illness. But this kind of person leaps even higher after his adversities. He doesn't blame. He doesn't say, I can't do it because I don't have this, or this happened to me. This person did this to me. This kind of person, even if he loses it all, he will turn nothingness into gold. Same for women. I don't go to the gym to impress someone. As a woman, when you love yourself, you enjoy taking care of yourself by nourishing your heart, soul, mind, and body, the vessel you're in. And beauty is the byproduct of that, how much you respect and love yourself. Trust me, there are a lot of beautiful women who hate themselves. This is the byproduct of this. For God's sake, if your parents get sick and you have to make a crucial decision and you're doubting your decision-making skills because it's your parents and you're emotional, don't you want a partner you can trust, whom you can sit with for hours at the hospital? Why shouldn't you be picky? Your standards should be even more strict than Harvard. What I'm saying is be picky about the right things. Get as picky as you can be. It's not about swiping to shop for the shiniest person, but finding the right person. If you haven't done the work on yourself, you based your value or other people's value based on what you can only see. You are not equipped to see or appreciate what's beneath the surface. What do you think happens? You choose a partner based on what you can see. You think you won in life because you got the prettiest girl and you got the most successful guy. But that's what happens. You're going to leave your wife for someone younger and prettier. And you're going to leave your man if things change because you chose him for what he comes with, not for who he is. When you become this woman or man, you can't unsee what's beneath. And this kind of woman will stand by her man, even the whole world is against him. She's different from women who only love you for what you come with. Because she saw you, she believes in you, she trusts you, she'll follow you anywhere you lead to. In my last video, I said I expect a lot more than just the surface. I can never be with a guy who makes a lot of money, but who has no idea where he's racing to or why he's racing. Most people race without questioning. 젖먹도 힘을 다해 가는 곳이 어딘지도 몰라. We just keep racing like hamsters in wheels. People experience when they often get to where they thought they wanted to be, they're like, now what? There were many times I felt behind because I saw everyone else racing ahead of me. There have been challenging life events that set me back, but I used them as opportunities to take meaningful breaks. I've come out with a clarity. Now I'm making leaps that are enduring and meaningful. At the brink of death with a cancer diagnosis, I had an opportunity to really reflect on what matters to me. If I wanted to settle for a wallet like someone commented, that would have been easy for me. People have offered marriages as long as I played a trophy wife. People offered luxury trips. People have offered to buy me things when I'm shopping. But I've never taken up on those offers. I'm not that naive. I know what it means to accept them. Not because a man cannot cherish a woman. What they offered is not sacred masculine provision, but it is a conditional exchange for my presence. In fact, I deeply desire to be cherished and showered in masculine provision. And what I mean by masculine provision, it is their intention and desire, whether it's through flowers, gift, emotional, physical, financial safety, to make me feel seen in ways I see you. I see your heart, I see your soul, your mind is so beautiful, and I want to give the best I can. Your dreams matter to me. I even notice where your eyes linger even for a second longer. When I said there are many men with means and I never had an issue being desired by them, people felt the need to diminish my appearance. It's funny people commented how beautiful I am in the previous videos. It's a classic pattern. I liked it when you're accessible, but now you're confident and selective, I need to put you down. If she wants a man with X, Y, and Z, she's saying I'm not enough. So I'll flip around and then make her feel not enough. And honestly, men who fit my standards admire women with discernment because they have it to themselves. I'm not saying only men shame others, women do that too. If I feel triggered or jealous, I will actually choose to admire the very quality the other person have and let it inspire me. If I feel triggered by a woman who felt so confident in her body, instead of sitting in my room and commenting how she's showing too much skin, I'm going to do the work to actually feel confident in my body. And here's the thing, think about it. If you are living your dream life, you have a dream house, dream spouse, why would you care what somebody else wants? So even if you thought that I'm the ugliest woman, would that make me undeserving of my standards? Other than what you can see with your eyes, which is physical appearance, what else do you know about me? You don't know my story. You don't know my strengths. In fact, you don't even know my name. You don't know my wisdom. You don't know the difference I've made in hundreds of people's lives. You don't know the feats I've conquered to accomplish to come out to the other side. You don't know my heart. You don't know my soul. You don't know how I treat others. When you have standards, it'll trigger people who feel excluded from these standards. Instead of self-respecting, they attack the very thing they think that matters the most. For women, that's usually attacking age, looks, and their desirability. For men, it's attacking wealth, status, and masculinity. It actually shows where you feel insecure about and where you base people's worth on. How embarrassing for you. That actually shows how shallow you are. You think that's what determines a woman's worth, and I will sit here and cry about it, feeling worthless? Sorry to tell you, I'm accustomed to it. Your words don't hurt me. Many women experience this and we can relate to it. If someone compliments me, someone next to it will say, oh, her hair cannot be real. She must be wearing hair extension. One time I was out with a group of friends and someone came up to us and said, I'm beautiful. And the friend next to me said, only if you knew how high maintenance she is to look like that. You know, truthfully, it used to hurt my feelings, but now I just say, yeah, I am. I'm proud to highly take care of myself because it shows my discipline and how much I respect and love myself. I genuinely don't care anymore if everyone thinks I am ugly. As long as I love the way I look, not just with external appearance. People can have problems with my standards, but at the end of the day, when I look at myself in the mirror, if I am happy with the way I showed up, I stay true to my values, morals, and integrity, then I'm proud and happy. I don't care what everyone else thinks. I want to love me. I want to be loved by me. It's like, why would I try to be liked by guys who likes blue-eyed blondes? My future husband will think I'm the most beautiful soul and the most beautiful woman. In the last video, I said abundance is birthright and material needs are very important. And someone commented that I have a materialistic mindset. Abundance is not just my inherent right, but everyone's. Material needs are important because they free us from suffering. And it can give you freedom to do what you love instead of going to the job you hate. Nobody can live without food and shelters and etc. And the quality of them, you decide. People can only receive what they believe they deserve. If you decide this is the minimum you need, just clean enough water to drink, junk food just to give you your calorie needs, that's what you will get. In old days, if you grow corns, you exchange it with milk from someone that has cows. At some point, people were like, this is too inconvenient. So we invented the money system. We invented tools like money, cars, and everything else to serve us better. Whatever we don't own will own us. Whether you keep buying things to fill the inner void, or whether you can't afford medical care when your loved one is sick, you've become a slave of the tools that we've invented. Here's the difference between being a materialistic person and being an abundant person. With a materialistic person, no amount of things that they can attain with the money will make them happy because they're running empty in here, even though their external world is overfilled. When you overflow here, your external reality eventually catch up. That's what I was talking about earlier. When you have your foundation solid, everything else will catch up. Sometimes it takes time for your reality to reflect your inner world. There's a term for that delayed. If you know, please comment. I forgot what that is called. Those who commented wanting abundance is a materialistic. Let me ask you, do you want to struggle? Don't you want to be generous? I love having spare $10, being able to share that $10 with someone who really needs. For me, $10 is nothing, but it could make the entire day for someone on the street. I can only do that when I'm abundant. When I was little, I went shopping with my parents for my ballet and figure skating classes. I was looking at the price tags on the leotards and skates. My parents were like, don't look at the price tags. Don't worry about the price. Try them on and pick the ones that you feel the most comfortable in. I was going to pick a state school because tuition was cheaper. My parents were like, don't worry about money. Just pick a school where you think you're going to get best experience and education from. I'm very grateful. There was never a time I had to give up on learning opportunities because we couldn't afford it. My parents wouldn't be considered wealthy by the most people's standards, but my parents never saw money as evil or enemy, but they saw it as a means to improve the quality of our lives, to become healthier, smarter, wiser, and stronger. Although I never felt limited in terms of the choices, once I made a choice, it came with a responsibility. I started piano when I was 5 or 6, and a few years later, I got bored of it, and I told my mom I want to quit. And I still remember my mom sat me down and said, are you sure? If you quit, that is going to be your choice. I just want you to be sure of it. And I was like, yeah, I want to quit. It didn't take long for me to miss playing the piano. A few months later, when I wanted to go back to lessons, my mom was like, you're not even going to touch the piano because it was your choice. I told you it comes with the consequences. If you want to take piano lessons, you can do so when you're an adult, when you can pay for your own lessons. If your child had real talent, real chance at becoming an Olympian, would you want your child to give up on his or her dreams because you couldn't afford training or lessons? It'll change your child's life's trajectory. What if your child gets sick with a rare disease and you can't afford the treatment? Abundance is our inherent birthright, not just mine. You're not going to have less because someone else has more. We all can be abundant, but you have to unlearn your scarcity programming. The key to abundance is in your authentic codes, which I mentioned earlier. The very thing that makes you different from everyone else, your authentic desires and purpose. When my ex-husband had a complete control over me, he would cut off my phone and cut off access to basic resources. I reached for public assistance, and when I got food stamps, I ran to the grocery store. I will never forget that feeling in the store. Oh my God, I can have anything in the store today. I can eat anything today. And why don't you realize this universe is God's store? God is literally telling us, anything you want is yours, my child. Anything you want, ask for it, reach for it, it'll be yours. Do you think God evaluates your worth, your value based on your bank account or how much you weigh? You are literally one of a kind when He created you. He sees your soul. He sees the very reason, purpose that He made you for. In His eyes, you are so precious. You deserve the whole world and more. He made this whole world for you. I'm not particularly religious, but Jesus died for you. He says that you are even worth dying for. Do you think God would be proud of you? I'm so proud of you. You settled for bare minimum. There are many pretty faces, but beauty fades. My husband is going to think I'm perfect, divinely beautiful, because of my heart, my soul, my wisdom, my mindset, my character, the way I do things, how I treat myself, treat him, and treat others. Why wouldn't he think I deserve the world? If my partner says he wants to go to Mars, I'm kind of a partner that says, okay, how could he make that happen? Let's make that happen. I don't say you're delusional. I mean, have you loved someone so special, irreplaceable because of their soul and their heart? Have you had a pet or a child? If you have, you know that feeling, wanting to give the best you can. Why would you settle for love that is less than that? And I want to make it clear. No amount of money will make you a provider or abundant. It's the mindset. I recently started modeling for a jewelry brand, and he told me a very interesting story. He's seen billionaires that come in and spend 200,000 or even millions on their watches, but they will cut every corner in deceitful ways when it comes to their women. On the other hand, the farmers walk in with the muddy boots for every occasion, every anniversary, even look for reasons to cherish their women, and they have like money coming out of every pocket and asking for the best they can get for their women. So I want to briefly talk about masculinity and femininity. A lot of people have wrong ideas about what masculinity and femininity is. Masculinity is not muscles and dominant, but it is anchored. And femininity is not weak. It is soft, but unbreakable. True masculinity and femininity are not toxic because they come from deservingness, not from entitlement. I have another video coming up to talk about this topic in depth: masculinity, femininity, entitlement, and deservingness. When masculine and feminine energies come together, it's so powerful. It creates life, literally. Polarity is beautiful and can be the most powerful thing if we learn to dance and co-create in harmony. There are things I'm innately good at, and there are things that I wasn't born good at. I recently had a lunch with a friend that I've known for 9 years, and I heard my friend describing me to someone. She says, she's referring me, She doesn't weigh her loss or gain like most people do. She's not calculative, so people have taken advantage of her. I thought about what she said. That was an interesting observation. I'm loving. I am good at loving. I really mean that. Like, I feel like I'm born to love. My default is to nurture and be creative because that's how I naturally express what's inside me. All these traits combined, I wasn't very good at making money off people through my business ventures. So I own a nonprofit which gives full eyebrows to cancer patients, and some people have lied about having cancers to receive treatment. Or some people used my weak spot, making it hard for me to say no. Something like, I don't have a cancer, but I'm going through a divorce or whatever they're going through. And can you help me? Can you give me free treatment? Sure, my friend is right. My kindness has been overlooked sometimes. But also, my kindness is the reason that blessings have returned to me in tenfold. So anyway, I'm not ashamed to admit this. This is the reason why I desire a masculine partner who is strong in leadership to protect me. Someone structured, harder on the exterior, but has a soft spot inside, which is complementary and polarity to me because I am soft, but there is a strength inside of me like steel. Polarity is what will make my partner and I admire each other because he'll be effortless at things that are hard for me. It's not to say women cannot make her own money. Nobody is going to come save you. I had to learn to protect myself. Sure, I trust easily because I see the world through my lens. I'm thinking people are like me. People don't have bad agenda. But you know what? I had to build a trust in myself, not in others. The rest will come to me. I don't know when, where, how, but it will. I'm certain of it. Because you know why? I walk in alignment. But there's nothing wrong wanting a masculine partner in polarity who will complement the areas that I'm not naturally good at. Someone who will hold like structures and container, hold space for me to stay soft and creative. And I stand as the connection between God and him. I am the inspiration and wisdom for him to become the best he can be. I am the greatest reflection of his inner world. Sure, I can do it all by myself, but we can thrive even better as a team when you have a complementary partner. Let's say if you want to build a successful company, wouldn't you want a business partner who has different skill sets than you do, who brings different values than you do? You might be seeing this femininity as weakness, but you don't understand how much courage it takes for someone like me who experienced spousal abuse to say, I still choose to be led. I'm always going to have my own autonomy and independence, but I hear so many people saying, all men suck, all women suck, and no men can be trusted. After my experience, I could be saying the same. I could be saying, I will never trust a man. I will never depend on a man. I will never give power to a man. But relationships, we come together to be vulnerable so we can be counting on each other, especially during vulnerable and difficult times. Partners are two people having their backs touching, even when they have to fight against the enemy, the whole world. Sure, once my teammate turn around and stab my back, but I'm not going to let my experience dictate my belief. I hear you. We all have been hurt a lot, and I hear a lot of women saying they will never depend on a man. If you have to live walking on eggshells, are you marrying the right person though? Sure, feelings change, and this is why we have to be picky. We have to have a standards to marry the right guy with the right characters. Not a guy who treats you well because he likes you, because he has access to your body, but a man who respects and honors people that have nothing to do with him. It takes more strength to stay soft, not letting your past harden you. I'm not going to become a victim of my past. I courageously choose to believe in love, and I choose to believe in divinely safe masculine provision and protection. And this is why I see what I believe. And I believe my man, my right man, is out there amongst them.